Hey, what is going on, guys? Today we're going to be showing you the final 200,000 score Nightfall guide for Solstice of Heroes. Of course, this is how you're going to masterwork your helmet. And of course, once Solstice is over, you can actually continue to work on masterworking your gear. So let me know if you guys want to see more 200,000 score Nightfalls in the future moving forward. But this is going to be the final week Solstice of Heroes 200,000 score Nightfall guide. So let me know if this video helps you out. If it does, do me a favor, smash that like button, subscribe if you're new, turn on notifications, and let's get into it. Alright, so real quick, I want to go through the modifiers first. Now, I will say that the modifiers I'm recommending are not the modifiers we actually used when we did the Nightfall, because I learned some things at the end of the strike, and I'll share those with you when we get to that point. Now, what I would actually run if I were to run this again, I would run it with no burn, and instead increase the handicap by just a little bit more. Now, what we ran it on was a 185 power handicap with solar burn on, but you'll see throughout the strike there's several times where we die because of solar burn, whether from snipers or the flames from the Taken, so on and so forth. But Arc and Void are not really helpful either because there's just so much different types of elements in this strike. So what I would suggest is going for maybe a 190, 195 power handicap with no burn, and maybe try that and see how that works. Of course, we ran Match Game. Your other choice would be Extinguish if your fire team's comfortable with running that. Then the modifiers we chose were Grounded and Blackout. Grounded, I will say, it does get very difficult at the very end. Like with the boss fight, that section right there is actually going to be really difficult with Grounded. So as you're going through, make sure you clear out all your adds before you jump from platform to platform, just to make sure that it goes by a little bit more smoothly. Of course, with Blackout, you want to make sure that you don't get meleeed from enemies, so try to keep your distance as best you can. Now, when it comes to your actual loadout, of course, if you're running Solar Burn, make sure you're running Solar Supers on everyone, Well of Radiance, Blade Barrage, hammers, etc. When it comes to your actual weapons, I would strongly suggest having a shotgun because there's a lot of really tanky enemies in this strike, as well as making sure you have a long-range weapon like a sniper, a pulse rifle, a bow even, just something along those lines. The rest really doesn't matter. You don't need a whole lot of DPS, but you do need a lot of ad-clearing weapons. And I will say that if you are running Match Game, there is a ton of different elemental types, so you want to make sure that everyone has a distinctive element type for them. So you want to make sure you have one of each, pretty much: Arc, Void, and Solar. Now, of course, the final modifiers that we chose to run with was a power handicap of 185, Solar, Match Game, Grounded, and Blackout. Now, when you first load into this strike, the Corrupted, the very first thing you're going to see is a bunch of Void Shields on the Scorn here. Now, there's a lot of solar damage here, so like I said, you could definitely run this without Solar Burn. But these enemies are they're not really tanky, but they're very evasive. And so there's a lot of different element types being shot throughout the strike. So you can see here the Scorn shoot Void, and then of course you have the Void Taken with the Void Shields. They're actually going to be shooting Arc. So there's a lot of different element types, so something like Hard Light would definitely be good in this strike as well. But in the first area, you basically want to make sure you take out all the Void Shields, try to stay back and pick off what enemies you can from a distance. And then once all the snipers spawn, make sure you take them out, and then take the big boss in the middle. But I will say that the Void Shields are probably going to be the most annoying, especially with Match Game. So like I said, make sure you have at least one of each element type for each person designated.
Heading inside now.
Good. Descend to the heart of the temple. You're looking for one of the Queen's Techians. Tech witches, you Guardians call them. Her name is Sadia. She was taken, but she can be saved. Her will is not her own. Grant her the mercy that she cannot grant you.
Now, once you actually enter into the Ascendant Plane and you get to this first entry-level drop zone, this part can actually be really annoying if you're not careful. Because of the lighting and everything, it's very easy to lose track of where enemies are, and there's a lot of different rocks and layers to this room. And so again, with the Minotaurs, they're going to be shooting solar. Some of them, I don't believe there's any shields in this area, but watch out for the solar on the Minotaurs. And then you have the Phalanxes that are going to smack you with their shield, and that's actually going to be arc damage. So again, there's tons of different elemental damage sources in this strike. So honestly, if I had to switch it, I would bump up the power handicap and not run any burn at all, because it can be a blessing, but also it can be a curse. Now, there's a lot of enemies in this room. You want to make sure to kill as many of them as you can, just because, of course, we're trying to maximize our score. And I believe we got through this part with about 65,000 or so points, and it took about 4 minutes to get through to the actual elevator. So overall, not too bad. But the elevator and the part after that is where we kind of got stuck as far as, you know, getting through the actual strike. Tether is going to be really well here, especially with all the enemies that are close by. And of course, all these enemies down here on the bottom, be careful if you're standing down there that you'll actually take damage from the Taken. So make sure, if you are down there, make sure to keep jumping. But again, we had grounded on, so if you get shot in the air, you're going to take more damage. So it's kind of a blessing and a curse in disguise. You just kind of have to play it out and see what works best for you guys.
I can get us to the bottom of the temple from here. Cover me.
Now, this elevator fight can actually be pretty annoying, but one pro tip that I would give is that you can actually toss the orbs to each other and then just drop them on the ground. They're never going to go away. They're just going to stay there. So you can actually pre-charge a whole bunch of these relics ready to go for whenever the bosses actually spawn that you have to throw the orbs at. Now again, remember that you have your different elemental types, and remember when the enemies do spawn, you're going to get these small adds first, and then the bigger guys with the shields are going to spawn. So the Acolytes are going to shoot arc. This is where Risk Runner would actually be really helpful if you didn't know what to run for your secondary. Risk Runner would be really good because all these enemies are shooting arc damage. Now again, once you throw the relics at the enemies to pop their shield, make sure you're aware of their health, because sometimes their shield might not pop with just one charge of the relic. If you need to, you can actually pass it back and forth and then throw it at them, and it'll actually pop their shield. But if you just do the one toss and pre-charge like we did, sometimes you'll throw it and it doesn't actually pop it right away. Now, same thing, remember that the Taken Blight is going to spawn in the middle, and you have the little Taken Blights spinning around it. So try to avoid the middle of the arena in this fight. This is going to be a really annoying fight if you are running like Arc Burn, for example, and it can get really messy really quick. So just make sure you play it safe. Use your Well of Radiance, use your tethers, all that stuff to make sure that you guys stay alive as best you can.
Guardian down. Guardian down.
Now, right when you get off of the elevator, you're going to notice right away that the knights on the stairs are actually going to have arc shields, and there's going to be one shrieker all the way in the back. This is where you want to make sure you have arc weapons to make sure to pop their shields so everyone can focus the same knights and take them out that way. The Shrieker is really good to take out with a sniper rifle or a bow of some sort, but a pulse rifle will work fine as well. Each knight in this area is going to have an arc shield, so as you're moving from this room all the way through the hallway up the stairs to the next room, just remember that your knights are going to have arc shields, and there's going to be a couple Shriekers right before you get up to the actual ogre fight. Now this fight is where people are going to get stuck, and this is part of the reason I don't suggest running Extinguish on this strike, because this part is actually a pain. So basically the way it works, you have the two different realms. You have the regular realm and the Ascendant realm, and every 10-15 seconds or so it teleports you between them. I would suggest jumping up here and get the higher ground, and there's some key things you want to watch out for, because each area you teleport to is going to have different things you have to focus on. For example, when you're in the Ascendant realm, you could see that there are the Taken Knights have solar shields, but the Taken Scions have void shields. And when you enter into the other area, I believe it's arc shields for the Knights. But then in the Ascendant realm, you also have Shriekers to worry about. So definitely I would take the high ground and try to pick off enemies as you go, and just stick with your team and coordinate. This is again where you want to make sure you have the right elemental burn to take out and pop their shields. When you get to the Ascendant realm, don't try to do what I did here. I had 1-2 punch and he just knocked me back, but don't do that. Try to stay farther back and pick off the Shriekers first. And before you actually move on to actually damaging the boss. It's just going to make things a lot easier and a little bit more safe. And I know sometimes playing safe you take a little bit more time, but this is a longer strike and there's a lot of ads. So again, you're trying to get 200,000 score, but if you can't get past an area, you're not going to be able to move on. So you just got to do what you need to do, and hopefully those tips are able to help you out in that section. Now, as soon as you complete the ogre fight, you're going to come to this area on the stairs, and there's going to be a bunch of solar snipers you want to watch out for. This is another reason I would suggest not running a solar any type of burn, and maybe just bump up the power handicap, because if those snipers shoot you, you're pretty much two-shot. And they're the types of snipers that pop that shield once you start shooting them if you don't kill them. So it's really annoying to take them out. As you're working down the stairs, there's just going to be more snipers. There's, I think, 2 on the left, 2 on the right, and I think 1 in the back, in the mid, possibly. I don't remember. But I know once you work your way down the stairs, there is going to be a bigger enemy, which you do want to kill, even though it is going to be annoying. But we got like 4,000 points from that guy alone, so it's definitely worth making sure to kill him. Now, once you get down to this area where you're jumping across the platforms, when you get to the bottom, you'll see this is an area where grounded, it makes it really difficult. This wanted enemy just two-shots me in midair before I can even hit the ground. So definitely be aware of that. If you are choosing to run grounded, it's kind of going to be like that the rest of the strike. You just got to watch out when you're jumping down and just make sure if there is any smaller enemies you can maybe pick off, try to do that. But again, grounded was pretty difficult. You might even try running momentum instead of grounded. And I know a lot of people in my last video explained they didn't really like using momentum. And that's okay. This is just kind of a general guide and let you know what we did and giving you my recommendations. And if you guys have any recommendations of your own, let me know in the comment section of how you guys would run this or what you guys did to complete this. Now, once you kill the wanted enemy down here, you kill all the ads, there are going to be a few snipers on the next platforms, and there's of course going to be a Minotaur over to the right. Make sure to kill him as well. That way you can optimize your score. Now, when you jump across this, remember, there's two snipers there, solar damage and midair. If they snipe you, you're done. You're donezo. So, again, another reason showing why some of these modifiers you might want to swap out. Just kind of depends. There's going to be 2 more snipers, and then I think that's all the ads until you get to the actual boss fight itself. Now, the boss fight is really complicated because there's a lot of ads that spawn in the middle, and there's a lot of stuff going on. And so depending on how you have the modifiers set up, you kind of have to play things a little bit differently. So since we had grounded on, we couldn't really jump from the left side to the middle and to the right that frequently because they would shoot us in midair and kill us instantly. So you kind of want to have, like I said, a longer range weapon like a pulse rifle or something, and that's going to help take out some of the ads from farther away. Now again, you can pick up the relic, you can pre-charge it if you want, but I think the main thing here is before you even start any damage, you just take out all the ads. That way it's really easy to jump across and throw the relic. Now you'll see here in a little bit, once I die, you'll see that the difficulty of it is having grounded on while you're trying to go through the portal, because of course once you start damaging her and you do a certain amount of her health, the portal is going to show up because she runs away and you have to go through the portal. But the ads don't actually despawn right away, so the ads are still there. So I was left behind because I fell off the map, and when I respawned I tried jumping across to the portal and I got melted instantly. So just a couple things to look out for when you get into this boss fight. Main tips I would say is to make sure to clear out all the ads before you start damage, have a planned coordinated attack, and just play it super safe. Now, of course, once you go through the portal, you guys know how it goes. You chase her, you're jumping across platform to platform. Just remember, if you have grounded on, if they shoot you midair, you're going to take a lot more damage than normal. So definitely play it safe. But that's basically it for this strike. That's the corrupted 200,000 score Nightfall to Masterwork your helmet. And let me know if this guide helps you guys out. And let me know if you did do this week. Let me know what modifiers and setup you guys use, what loadout. I'd be interested to hear from you guys. If you guys want me to continue doing 200,000 score Nightfall guides each week, I can, but I definitely need to know from you guys if you guys are interested, if you guys still need help with masterworking your helmets, even after Solstice of Heroes is ended. But that's going to wrap it up for this video. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Again, if you did, please do me a favor, smash that like button, subscribe if you're new, turn on notifications, and I will see you guys in the next one. Appreciate it, guys.
Got her on the run. Keep it up. down.
I have seen the end. We will all fall.